progress.
Good evening, everyone. We will get started soon. Please make sure your telephones and you are on mute, please. And you're on mute. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for being here. My name is Levon Akoghlanian. Love to see you all. Put your cameras on so I know who's who, but I'll respect that also if you do not. Hopefully I'll meet you all this weekend. And to begin with, I want to first thank several people that made this tournament, the first tournament we had, which was just ended yesterday, a successful one. And hopefully we will have another to follow coming up. Kevin, our assigner, Colin, Aaron, Derek, and Matt. Thank you all for making our first regional tournament successful in North Carolina. I look forward to working with all of you on our second tournament, which starts this week. To begin with, I just want to say a few words, and I'm going to turn over to Kara Honthumb, our National Director of National Coach and National Director for U.S. Official. And first of all, I want to make sure that everyone understands and we set up expectations up front, which I will do that at the first meeting that's coming up on Thursday. For a few minutes, I will be discussing the expectations. Please, thank you. Secondly, I also would like to let you know that we have over 16 different individuals, 16 plus individuals that will be attending our tournament to help you each individually and work with you, and includes at least 7 national coaches, pro and several referee mentors and referee coaches. We have also invited several other individuals that may come and see your games, and hopefully, please remember, you never know who's watching out there, and give your best, and you never know what the expectations for future could be for you by doing what is the right thing, which is do the right at all times. Logistic wise, I will be sending out each night what information for the next day. The last logistic before I turn over, anyone that requires hotels, they will be getting information from Derek and Presidus tonight within the next 3 hours. So any other questions, I will stay on after the meeting is over for at least 10 minutes to answer any questions specifically that you have for me or Kevin, who are minor. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Kara Honthumb. Please, can you hear me, Kara? Kara? No? Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, Levon,
I would like to say a few words. Oops. Kevin, why don't you go ahead and say a few words before Kara takes over?
Okay.
If you like.
Well, again, welcome. Look forward to seeing all of you in person if we have not met yet before. From the Assigner standpoint, we are going through a number of changes. So we are inputting all of those. Tonight it's taken a little bit longer than I would have liked. But last night I couldn't go 4 days without sleep, so I chose to get a little bit of sleep and get them in today. So I hope you can understand why those were a little bit delayed. But we have had a number of changes, a number of as with any tournament, and especially a tournament this size, some people stepping away, some people coming in, which has obviously affected a number of fields and potentially your field. So if you see your games disappear for a moment, expect them to come back and re-accept quickly, please. Outside of that, I will be at the event the full time. So if you have any questions, concerns, I'll be at the fields working throughout. Feel free to text me. I will get back to you as quickly as I can, and all of the other assigner things that I am meant to say. So I look forward to seeing you again, those of you who I've seen, and meeting those of you who I have not. So thank you. That's it from my standpoint.
So yours, Kara.
All right. So we're going to start with just a quick rules of competition briefing. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or raise your hand. And we'll see. We can make sure I see everybody. All right. First of all, I think Kevin already got this one. Welcome, everybody. We're excited to have you in North Carolina. We're going to be at the beautiful Bryan Park Soccer Complex. For those of you guys who haven't been there before, this is a really great facility. It's got a central pavilion and central parking. But just as a heads up, that parking lot does fill up early. So make sure that you plan accordingly. The satellite parking lots can be pretty far away. Right, we don't have, as far as I know, any specifically reserved or assigned parking, so it's first come, first serve. For those of you with hotel accommodations, you should be able to check into your hotel after 4 p.m. on the day of your arrival. Right, if you have any questions or issues with check-in, text Matt. Make sure you give clear and concise information about that situation, and do not call him unless it's an emergency, right? Try to handle this via text first. Referees must check in 60 minutes before the first assignment. We prefer a little bit earlier, right? Again, that there's only one way in and out of the complex. The line for parking can get long, so make sure you plan accordingly. The referee tent will be by field 6. You can see the little red pin. And the parking lot that I'm referring to is that one that's with the letter A, the other red pin. Right? It's a smaller lot. It does fill up quickly. Keep that in mind. Lunch and snacks will be provided at the referee tent for you throughout the day. Please bring a reusable water bottle. We'll do our best to make sure that you are provided with water throughout the day, but it's always helpful if you have your own bottle and can fill it up as well. The Girls Academy is pretty good about providing coolers in the past. So hopefully, I don't know, how were they last week? Did they have that?
We had plenty of water to go around all through the games. So
Good.
Not an issue.
Good. All right. And like I said, I just want to emphasize there's only one road in, right? So make sure that if you want to get a spot in that near lot, you arrive early. All right. So guidelines and information. Use common sense. COVID-19 is still out there. I know in the South, they're pretending it doesn't exist anymore, but it still does. So let's use common sense. If you have contact with anybody that does have a positive COVID-19 diagnosis or develop any symptoms, make sure you report that to Levon or Kevin immediately so we can advise you as to what the next steps are, right? And again, common sense, please do not be sharing equipment just in case. Points of emphasis for team check-in. The player's name must be on the roster, no write-ins. If you have a player that the team is insisting should be on the roster and isn't on the printed roster, right, you should make sure you radio that in. All right, make sure you provide a safety check. Coaches and referee crews are required to sign the roster provided by the home team. The fourth official log we use for every game. This must be initialed by all referees and should stay in the binder for collection by Matt. Right, the referee will place signed rosters in the field binder. All the rosters should be there at the beginning of the day. If there's a change, we'll let you know. And Matt or somebody else from the U.S. officials team will be around to collect the rosters after each game. All right, the referee crew from the last game of the day should make sure that they bring the binder, the radio, the balls, and any other equipment that went out there with you back to the referee tent at the end of the day. Right, first crew of the day is responsible for taking it all out. Last crew of the day is responsible for bringing it back in. If you're not sure, if you're the last crew, just ask. Balls will be provided by the Girls Academy, right? The title sponsor is Adidas, and those should be the only balls used. If the teams are complaining that there's not enough balls and they have Adidas balls available, use common sense about weighing the options of getting that in, but the preference is always for the tournament ball, right? The duration of the matches, we've got U15s through U19s at this event. So we've got 2 by 40 minutes for the U15s, and everything above that is going to be 45 minutes.
Kara? Kara?
Yeah.
One correction.
Oh, okay.
U16, U19, 10 minutes also. Everything is 10 minutes.
10.5 time, okay.
Halftime, 10 minutes across the board.
Right. All right, for substitutions, right? Players must leave and substitutes must enter the field at the halfway line. We know that the laws of the game changed this. However, for rules of competition, because these are still youth players, we're going to make sure that we have them leaving at the midfield line in between the benches. Right? Maximum 7 substitutes per half across 5 opportunities. No more than 3 opportunities per half. Halftime does not count. Right? They should have substitution passes. Did you have any issues with that last week? Did we have any issues with substitution passes last week? Did they have them all?
Sub passes are in the binder. Now it's that single sheet we use at Champions League.
Okay. So sub passes should be in the binder. Some teams may put their own as well. All right. We're still doing no casts for Girls Academy?
Okay, on the cast rule, the rule is very simple. It's gotta be approved by the athletic trainer. Without the approval of the athletic trainer, we will not make a decision. Obviously, referees have the final decision, but you have the athletic trainer first must approve it before you could allow it. It has to be bubble wrap. It does not have to be a high school rule, which is one and 1/2 bubble. It has to be safe, and the athletic director gotta clear it.
Okay, all right, good. Send-offs, right? If we have red cards to the player or the team official or team officials, they must be reported immediately after the game by text. Supplemental game report is required. It should be in the binder. Also the head injury subs. Sorry, this was I stole this slide from the one of our previous presentations. So for the head injury sub, go ahead, Levon.
What I was going to say, I will specifically go over substitution rule every day because we will be having new people, new referees attending each day. But on the substitution rule, I would like to make sure it's very clear. There is 5 moments or opportunities to substitute the entire game. Out of the 5 moments, it could be 3 and 2 or 2 and 3, but no half can exceed 3 substitution. Secondly, substitutions are first half 7 individuals could substitute, no re-entry. Second half 7 could substitute, no re-entry. In regards to the head injuries, I want to be very clear on this. As soon as you see the head injury, I do not care where the game is going. Stop the game, call in HQ, which we'll go over. We'll call in athletic trainer immediately. Please just say injury, nothing else than injury in the field. We'll go over that again at the meeting. Substitution for head injury does not count in movements, and it does not count in substitution. If the individual is substituted, the same person comes in, the same person goes out and then comes back in, that does not count. Again, we'll go over it more on Thursday.
Thank you, Levon. Efren, you had a question? We'll go over jewelry in a second, but correct, no jewelry.
No jewelry, that includes referees. What you expect from the players, I'd like you to expect from yourself. That's a good question, Efren, you brought up.
Just a reminder that U.S. officials pays you by the reported games. So if you don't report your games, you will not get paid, right? So make sure you report your games as soon as they're over. Make sure you get paid. All right.
Can I just step in for half a second? For those who have not used U.S. officials before or relatively unfamiliar, that means each position. So even if you're an assistant referee or a 4th official, you must click the report button. It simply states that you are there. You are not adding any additional information, scores, those type of things. But you do need to click the report button for all positions, not just the referee.
Thank you, Kevin. That's a good clarification. All right, just a reminder that full legal substitution procedure must be followed, right? And that is including the player coming off at midfield on the bench side and the player entering the field after that player is left at midfield on the bench side, right? Again, we talked about casts already, so I'm not going to go over that. If the trainer has approved it, they're allowed. But other than that, obviously, if it's a soft brace, use your discretion as far as the safety of the opponents would go. So if it's got hard pieces or anything like that on it, it's got to be checked by a trainer. All right. And of course, right, no jewelry, with the exception of medical alert devices, which must be taped to the body or secured in some other fashion. But we want to make sure, again, no jewelry. And as Levon mentioned, that includes for the referees. Right, in the event of similar team colors, the home team on the game report shall change. Goalkeeper colors must be distinct from the opposing team field players and goalkeeper. All right, obviously, these applies to the 5 uniform S's. Does anybody have any questions about the rules of competition? Levon, was there anything I missed that's critical or particular to this event?
No, you covered, and I will be covering more specific at the time each day. Actually, the first day will be more information given to you specific, but overall, you have everything right there, and make sure you abide by it. The only thing I say, set expectations of yourself and the players and the coaches up front and execute it during the entire tournament.
Okay, Cara, can we clarify added time and water breaks if those are demanded? It's a question from the chat.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So added time, right? Add time at your discretion, right? If it's necessary, if you have a long injury or something like that, and it's appropriate, but don't be overly generous with it. You know, it's a long day for everybody. It's a long event for everybody. Nobody wants or needs 10 minutes of extra time on a half, right? Obviously, barring a major injury.
Regarding the question on the water breaks, you will be informed when it's going to be executed. We did not do the first day. I don't believe the weather is going to hit higher than 85, but if it does, we will let you know by the radio when to execute. But when you go there, you execute normal procedure of without the water break.
All right. Anything else I missed? Anything else? Kevin, Matt, Levon, Derek?
I am
As
all
long as
good.
we go substitutions later this week, it's fine.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to now be posting a link in the chat. Please click on that link. It's going to take you to the lesson that we're going to do, a quick educational piece, determining foul severity. On the off chance you are familiar with Nearpod and have the app, I've also put the code in the chat as well. I will share my screen, but I can tell you that the user experience will be much better if you can actually follow along on your own browser or in the app. Give just a couple more minutes, people to log in. All right, and then in the interest of time, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. You guys can catch up when you get logged in. All right, so why do we talk about judging foul severity, right? It's because the importance there, it is very important that we correctly identify fouls when we're refereeing soccer. Law 12 is 75% of the laws of the game test for all referees at all levels. And evaluating tackles is one of the fundamental skills for referees to correctly identify potential misconduct. Okay. It's also one of the skills that's the hardest to perfect as a referee and has potential to be have the biggest impact on your match control. Right?
Kara, you're not playing on our screens, only on yours.
Yeah, it's only showing us.
Now.
There we go.
Yep,
It's
yep.
fixed now.
Yep. All right, I could go on and on, but I think you guys all get the point. Right? It's like a four-minute video, but you guys all get the point, right? We can move on. So for the purposes of judging foul severity, right? Most challenges or tackles are put into three categories. They're careless, reckless, or excessive force. Everybody's familiar with that concept, right? Everybody should be nodding along. Careless. What's a careless foul? Anybody? Who's got their laws of the game with them? I see a couple of people reaching. Some people are driving.
Derek.
Colin, you have your laws of the game with you?
Where does the app?
Yes,
Oh, the app counts. Absolutely, Corinna. You have it? What's the definition of careless foul? Or definition of careless?
Careless is when a player shows a lack of attention or consideration when making a challenge or acts without precaution. No disciplinary sanction is needed.
Good. How about reckless? Who's got this
Kara,
one? Go ahead, Kevin.
Kara, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, reckless is when a player acts with disregard to the danger to or consequences for an opponent and must be cautioned.
Excellent.
So reckless is cautionable offense.
Exactly. Good. How about excessive force? Who's got that one?
I'll go again.
All right, go for it.
All right. Using excessive force is when a player exceeds the necessary use of force and or endangers the safety of an opponent and must be sent off.
Good, good, good.
So
All right.
something we don't want to see in a match.
Exactly, exactly. But we need to be ready for it for when it does, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then we also have the whole concept of violent conduct, right? Violent conduct is a whole nother level. And I just want to emphasize that just because the ball is there doesn't mean that it's not violent conduct, right? So you need to make sure you take these things into account. So given all of these things, right, that it's so important, and we have all these definitions, but how do we get it right? How do we get it right on the field?
Being where we need to be when needed.
That's part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Positioning. What else?
Properly applying the considerations.
Yes, the considerations. Good. What else do we got? What other tools do we have as a referee? Some of you already looked up some definitions in it.
Other officials that we have.
Sure, other officials, knowledge of the laws of the game, right? That's our fundamental knowledge builder right there, the laws of the game, and also experience, right? These are the three things that you can use as a referee to be able to make sure we get these decisions right. So talking about the considerations, right? Is a challenge committed in a fair manner or a careless manner? Then maybe we have a foul or no foul or a trifling foul. Is a foul necessary to establish or maintain match control? Now we're starting to look at something that could be trifling, but maybe we need to call it because of the game or the player, right? Does the player need it? Does the match need it? If the answer is no, then it's not a foul. If the answer is yes, then we blow the whistle. Now we have the laws of the game creeping in, right? Does the player show a lack of attention or consideration when making the challenge? Now we've got a foul, right? A careless foul, but we've got a foul. Right? Simple foul. Careless, lack of attention. Now we're creeping up the spectrum, right? Does the player act with disregard for the danger to the opponent? Does the player act with disregard for the consequences to the opponent? Now we're starting to think reckless, right? Do we have a yellow card? Are the player's actions due to frustration or desperation? Is this a yellow card and we need to start thinking about what our management options are, right? Is a player retaliating for previous incidents? So we've got a yellow card and maybe a yellow card plus.
Winners yet again. And now
Right, so there, I'm muted. Right, so there we have a hard charging foul, right, with disproportionate force, enough force to knock the player into the air, right, from behind. She has no ability to protect herself or brace for that impact. All right, so now we're thinking about a yellow card. Why else might we want to elevate to a yellow card here? Go ahead, Jack.
It's in front of technical. It's right in front of the coach in technical area.
Exactly, right? We're in front of the technical area. And as we know, fouls in front of the technical area tend to have a magnified impact on the game. Good. Right? And this is what we're talking about, right? Does the foul occur in or near an area of the field that magnifies its impact on match control? Right? Now, are we thinking, you know, a little bit even more than yellow card? Are there mixed considerations? Are the player's actions due to anger? Right now we're still sort of stuck in between that which way do we go phase, right? This is always the hard one as a referee because you pick the right one and the game smooths out and everything's great. You pick the wrong one and you spend the next however long the game is figuring out what the heck you might have done wrong. Right? So for this one, if there's any doubt in your mind about whether you're going to go yellow or red here in real time, right? Because that's a tough decision. The fact that this foul happens is such a big foul and happens right in front of the benches should clue you into which direction you need to go. And now we're getting into that solidly red range, right? Does a player show malice when making the challenge? Does the challenge endanger the safety of the opponent? Does a player exceed the necessary use of force when making the challenge? Does a player use brutality against an opponent when making the challenge? Does a player lunge an opponent from the front, from the side, or from behind? Is the foul serious foul play or an act of violent conduct, right? There you have a big decision to make. Red card, right? Everybody said yes. Everybody's nodding there at red card. All right, so now we've dealt with the sort of careless, reckless, and excessive force aspect, but there are other things that we can take into consideration, right? We have the considerations for severity. What's the mode of contact? What do I mean by mode of contact?
Are they using their hand, their foot, their knee?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Try again.
Like if they're using their hand, their foot, or their knee, or like what they're using to make that contact.
Exactly, right? What's the point of the player's body that's making contact with their opponent, right? When we're looking at mode of contact, what is the two most common ones we're actually kind of that are danger signs for referees?
The point of contact.
The point of contact is where it lands.
No.
The cleats, the studs, the cleats.
Absolutely, Chris. Good. The studs are a big one, and the other one is the elbow, right?
Elbow.
Those are two big, no pun intended, red flags for us as referees. Right? Point of contact. Where on the opponent did that contact get made? Right? Is it in a vulnerable soft spot? Do you have a hard mode of contact, cleats or elbow, making contact with a soft, unprotected part of their opponent's body? Right? These are things that we have to take a look at when we're trying to determine which way we're going to go, right? What is the degree of speed, intensity, or force, right? When the player's making that challenge, are they coming from distance? Are they sprinting? Are they running? Right? These are important potentially mitigating factors, right? What direction is the challenge coming from? Does the player have any chance of bracing themselves for impact or protecting themselves from the potential challenge, right? Does the player use their arm as a tool or a weapon? When we're looking at upper body challenges, right? The elbow, do we have a weapon or do we have a tool, right? Is it being used to create space or is it being used to create impact? Is there secondary movement? Right? That secondary movement can often give you a clue as to which direction you need to go on that misconduct scale. There's also timing, right? Does the player have a chance to play the ball in a fair manner? If they have a chance to play the ball in a fair manner, then generally speaking, that's kind of is going to mitigate what we're thinking. Does the ball change direction after the challenge? If the ball changes direction, that means that they at least got a part of it. So that means that they at least had a chance to play the ball in a fair manner, right? So that's a visual clue you can look for when you're looking at these challenges. Does the player touch the ball before making contact with the opponent, right? Or while the ball was present, or after the ball is gone? Those are three very particularly important pieces of timing. It changes our decision-making drastically. All right, all of you should now see a PDF viewer on your screen of all of these considerations in a handy PDF file you can download. If somebody could do me a favor after they download it, if they could throw it up into the chat for anybody who doesn't have access to it. I can navigate to it, but I'm sharing my main computer screen right now.
Add it to my Google Drive. I don't know that I can insert it on Zoom right now.
I'll get it. I'll get it. Give me like 2 minutes.
Matt's got it. You have it downloaded, Matt?
Yep, I'm on it.
Perfect. All right, moving right along. So we've talked about the considerations, right? But how do we use them? How do we make them from an academic exercise to a practical exercise, right? And that is, you know, you combine them in various ways to correctly identify challenges and if misconduct should be issued, right? And then others will provide important context, such as timing and visual clues. So it's that combination of how do things add up, right? Do we have enough? Are we yellow? Are we red? Are we no, maybe we're no foul. Point of contact should be the most heavily weighted consideration whenever you're looking at tackles, right? Lower body fouls that occur progressively higher on the body generally are going to correspond to higher severity, right? If you think about it, if you imprint that color scale on a leg, that foot is green, the ankle starts to get yellow, and as you go further up, it gets red, right? Upper body fouls that occur above the shoulders also generally correspond to higher severity. If we're looking at any kind of arm to head contact, we should automatically be thinking yellow card, right? And then use the considerations to land on the appropriate decision from there. Football understanding, right? It also provides additional context of why a challenge may be committed and in what manner. If you understand why players do what they're doing, you can prepare yourself for the decision that you have to make. And then finally, consistent use of the considerations allows communication of important details to benefit teamwork during the game and self-analysis after the game, right? So it's the constant reflection, it's the use, and then the reflection. And each time you'll get a little bit better. You're not going to be perfect at this right away, but if you keep doing it, you keep practicing it, you keep looking at clips, you keep applying it to your real game scenarios, you'll find that you get a little bit more fluent in it every time, right? But if everybody's speaking the same language, it's a benefit to you on the field and it's a benefit to you off the field. There are a couple exceptions that we need to make sure we mention, right? And that is where the force is going to always be considered high despite a short distance or a low speed. And that's lower body fouls, so a lunge or a scissor tackle, or upper body fouls such as an elbow and a forearm. Right, you can also, like I said before, apply this same graphic to parts of the body, right? You can use it as a mental ruler to gauge the severity of the challenge. Or more simply like this. Any questions about using the considerations for judging foul severity? No, nobody has any questions? All right, so let's look at some clips. All right. Using the reaction emojis at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So I need y'all to navigate back to Zoom for the moment. Right? I want you to use a green check mark if you have no foul, a raised hand if you have a yellow card, and the red X if you have a red card.
I'm sorry, what was the yellow? What was the?
All right, so we have a lot of people with yellow card here and a lot of people who just aren't sure. A couple people with red.
Meanwhile, I had blue.
Not sure what the blue is, but I think Matt is giving an advantage. All right. Franco, you have a red card?
Yes, I do.
All right. Using considerations, why do you have a red card? Justify your decision.
I thought he kind of charged in with the elbow, therefore using it as a weapon instead of just going up naturally.
Okay. All right, so you had use as a weapon. Maria, you have a yellow card.
Yes, I do.
Why do you have a yellow card?
I don't think he used his elbow. I think he used his forearm to get leverage so he would get to the ball first.
Okay, so you have more of forearm than elbow. So for you,
Yes.
the mode of contact is a little bit further down the arm. Okay. All right, Franco, what do you have to say about that?
You said Franco, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it really being used as leverage. I just saw it more as going for the player with it, but.
Okay. All right. But you still had elbow?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sasha, do you have anything to add? You had a yellow card, correct?
Yes, I did.
All right. What do you have to say?
I said similar reason for the yellow card. I saw the arm being used as a tool. He's going up and playing for the ball, but his arm is swinging and being used as a tool, and yellow card.
Okay. So tool to create that space. Contact is with the forearm. That's what you have?
Correct.
All right. Guys are pretty close. Right. If you can see on my screen here, I'm frozen at the moment of truth. He kind of gets it with more the upper arm, that kind of bicep area, right? But that's a softer spot. So we don't have that hard elbow for that mode of contact, automatic. We're starting to think about potentially a red card here. This is a yellow card. Again, this is more of a, we've got a softer mode of contact. The point of contact is still the head. So we definitely want to make sure that we're giving a yellow card here, right? Does anybody have any questions about this one?
I do, Kara. Because my initial thought was red due to, the part of the elbow. Now, could we be backed up on from, assigners or anybody that we could go red here, since the player is coming from a little bit of a distance and not necessarily going straight up and coming at an angle, and that is neck? that could cause some serious damage to the player that could, cause some spinal injury or something like that. Of course, I'm not a medic or anything like that, but just from experience from players that I know, going into the neck like that could cause damage and potential season-ending injuries.
Sure. Look, if at the end of the day, if you make an on-field decision that this is a red card, without video evidence to really parse it out, and this is speaking as an assessor, right? I don't argue balls and strikes with referees as far as their on the field calls go, unless we have video to really actually take a look at it. I think as a red card, that would be a tough decision. But I could also see games where for match control, maybe you need to elevate this to a red card, right? So those are things that you can take into consideration as well. If you feel that it's justifiable as a red card and you can support your decisions using the considerations and the laws of the game, then as an assessor, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions about this clip? Right, I don't think he was coming, in my opinion, right? He's not coming from that much of a distance. He's not sprinting in. They're pretty close when they start jumping. All right, so we don't have a lot of speed or force initially. So for me, this is just a yellow card. Right, and that is the official FIFA answer, in case you're wondering. You don't have to take my word for it, right?
No, I appreciate it. I might have seen the video wrong, so thank you.
No, that's all right. The official FIFA answer for this clip is yellow card.
Right, that's why I'm not a FIFA yet. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Let's go on to the next one. All right, for those of you guys who are watching it on the on Nearpod in your browser, you can definitely play this as many times as you want. Stop it, pause it, right? But we're gonna keep moving for the sake of time. So we'll do the same again, right? Green check if you have no foul, raise your hand if you have a yellow card, and a red X if you have a red card.
What about, you said no foul, yellow card, red card. What about foul, no misconduct?
Oh, you know what? We need one more.
Use the blue one.
Okay, no,
Thanks.
we're good.
What are we saying the blue arrows are? We've decided that that's a foul or no?
I think it's no foul. So the blue arrows are no foul.
Okay, thank you.
No, blue was foul, no card.
No foul, no
That's
card.
the one.
Foul.
Yeah, blue was foul, no card. One you skipped.
I knew I missed something. Thank you. Blue is foul, no card.
Yeah, I got your back, Cara. No worries.
All right, I'll give you guys a couple more seconds. Just a word of warning, just because you're not voting doesn't mean I won't call on you. All right, Gavin, you have foul no card.
That is correct.
All right, and using the considerations, justify your decision.
For me, as I see the player going into the challenge, I think it could have been a lot worse than it ended up being. It looked to me like he pulled his legs back as he went into the challenge, kind of only nicked the player a little bit. I think that if he had kept his legs straighter, gone into it with straight legs, made contact on the leg or the shoe of the player, I think that it probably would have been a yellow card. But for me, because he pulls out of the challenge a little bit, it's just a foul for me.
All right. All right, thank you, Maria, for letting me know. I will be playing the videos on my screen as well if you're having trouble watching the video in the lesson. It's just not as seamless, right? You get some jerkiness. All right, good, Gavin. And let's see, what else do we have? We got a couple here for yellow card. Danielle and Brad. I don't know, am I talking to Danielle or Brad or both?
Danielle voted for yellow card. So I'll let her
Brad
talk.
hit the wrong button.
All right, what do you guys have?
And looking at it, it was above the ankle. So you could go yellow, but it's also 10 minutes into the match. From a game management standpoint, do you need to have yellow? I guess it's a toss-up. And where the foul happened. So I guess you could go yellow or just a foul.
Okay. So I want to caution everybody because it's something I run into a lot, right? And I think all the other referee coaches here will agree with me. Be careful of talking yourself out of giving a card because it's too early or too late in the game, right? If something deserves a card, it deserves a card, whether it happens in the first 30 seconds or the last 30 seconds of the match and all of the seconds in between, or even the first second, right? Although it's rare to have something happen in the first second, but you never know, right? So be careful using that as a justification because it can often get you into trouble. Because I guarantee you, if you have a big, hard yellow card tackle in the 10th minute of the game, and you decide it's only the 10th minute of the game, so I'm not going to give this caution, you're going to have a rough 80 minutes in front of you, right? Because as I like to always repeat, what you allow, you encourage, right? So as soon as you sanction that as not a yellow card, you're giving permission to everybody on the field to do that same tackle at least once. All right, so just be careful with that. All right, so Dwight, you also had a yellow card?
Yes, I do.
All right, so using the considerations, justify your decision.
Well, I'm going to say that given the distance from the goal in the position where they are on the field, I think that's a yellow card. But I couldn't see the video properly, so it keeps lagging. But the what is it? Excessive reckless play of the player going in. What I could see, I think it warrants the yellow card.
Okay. All right. Okay. And Alex, you had foul no card. What do you have to say to Dwight?
Yeah, so I think it's it's debatable. You could have a yellow card. I would say that the intensity is low. It's not really reckless. In my view, if that was like more studs making the foul, it was more just his knee glancing into the other player, and so that's why I have no card. I do think that a yellow card could be justified because it was still pretty late for the tackle.
Okay. All right. So for those of you guys who voted foul no card, right? This is a foul, right? You can see he comes in late, well after the ball is away. And he makes contact with the back of the calf of his opponent, right? So we definitely have a foul here. But part of the reason we're not looking for a yellow card is also if you watch, so the blue player actually sees this tackle coming and jumps over the player committing the foul, right? Still a foul, right? There's still contact. We still want to make sure we're blowing the whistle here, even though the player is jumping up and kind of exaggerating the impact, right? And in fact, if he had probably just braced himself and kept moving, he probably would have been he wouldn't have been turned upside down, right? You guys see that? So we have a foul for the late tackle, but the force and the impact isn't there quite enough. We've got the knee-ish, right, to the back of the calf. So the mode of contact and the point of contact isn't quite high enough for a yellow card. Any questions about that? No? All right. That one more time. All right, same again, right? Green check mark for no foul, blue arrow for foul no card. Raise hand for yellow card, red X for red card. Thank you, Corinna. That's very helpful.
For some reason, all of the emojis didn't match, but I tried to find what I could.
It works. Give everybody another couple seconds. Maybe you're going back and frantically watching the clip again. I see somebody, at least somebody changed their mind. All right. Caitlin. Oh, somebody's gonna ask a question? No? All right, Caitlin Ford. You have a red card, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's hear it. What do you got for me?
So I saw studs up from the back into the ankle. So definite red card for me.
Okay, so you had the mode of contact was?
The cleats,
Yep.
I mean, into the ankle from the foot.
Yep, and that point of contact was that high ankle. Good. All right. All right, and Isaac, you have a yellow card.
It looks like her trailing foot with her cleats got her right in the Achilles. So to me, that is a definite yellow card.
Okay, so you have the trailing foot as
But I
the,
couldn't tell, yeah, if it was high or real low. It looked pretty steppy while we're driving here. It's choppy.
ah, okay, all right. And Kristen Sadika, what do you have to say about that? What Isaac just said.
We were sitting next to each other discussing that. So I told him based off of like the mode of contact from the studs on the Achilles, it looked like it was her planted foot. Once again, it was a little choppy for us, but to me, that type of tackle from behind, the angle of attack was from behind, and to put most of your weight onto that person's vulnerable point told me red. So that's what I went with, a red card for that.
Okay. All right. So most of you guys did have red card. All right, we've got the moment of truth here on my screen now, if you want to bounce back to Zoom. All right, you can see we are making contact with the studs to the side or even back to the ankle. All right, she's got a straight leg. The only thing that's really mitigating any force here is the fact that she's at least on the ground. She's not airborne, right? One thing to keep in mind is a player who is airborne has zero ability to control their momentum, right? If a player is airborne, their force is always going to be high because they can't brake. At least if she's on the ground, she's got the natural force of gravity and friction to help slow her down a little bit, right? But all the pieces are here for a red card. She's coming from sort of a behind angle, right? Which makes it hard for the player to see the tackle coming. And if they can't see it, they certainly can't prepare for it or protect themselves. Right? Any questions about this clip? Frankie, you have a question? Or are you just still voting for a yellow card? All right, Levon, how much longer do you want me to go? You're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, I'm talking to myself, I guess. No, I said, let's go another few minutes and then question and answers, and that will do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Because we will cover, but most importantly, I want to make sure everyone gets something out of this Zoom meeting. Even if you get one thing out of it, I'm very happy about it. And hopefully we could answer as many questions as we can. So let's go on until 9:15 and then ask any questions they have.
All right. And Isaac, did you have a quick question about this clip in particular?
No, thank you. Trying to figure out how to unraise my hand.
Get yourself back.
All right. All right. And Corinna is voting early for the next card. She's seen the future and knows it's a red card. Nope, not willing to be that brave. All right.
Definitely a red card for me now that I saw the screenshot.
All right, we'll watch that again. All right, I'm gonna play it one more time. We got a lot of the early voting, a lot of early votes here. All right, so the early votes seem pretty consistent for the people who are voting. So you have a red card. All right, Sasha, we'll start with, actually, we'll wait, hold on. Let's start with Sullivan. You have a yellow card,
Yeah, I do.
all right? Using the considerations, justify your decision.
See that the ball's already been played. And then the Japanese player comes in from behind and it's right at the ankle, but he does show his studs. But he does like pull back on it right at the end there, and he knows he's giving that foul. So yeah, I'm giving that yellow here.
All right, so you had the mode of contact with studs, but what was the point of contact?
Right at his lower ankle.
Lower ankle, okay. All right, and Sasha, you had a red card, correct?
Yep.
All right, so using the considerations, justify your decision.
So point of contact is the ankle with the studs. From the last clip, we also had that as a red card. You also have the mode or the speed of the contact is really high. You can't even see it. It's just a blur into the ankle. And for me, having that slowdown, seeing the mode of contact plus the speed has it at a red for me.
Okay. And Joe Worley, what do you have to say to that? What do you have to say to Sasha?
That I disagree.
Okay, why do you disagree? Use the
Because
consideration.
the Japanese player actually won the ball first,
Okay,
and then it was top of the laces on top of the boot. It's still a foul. Yes, you can win the ball, and it's still a foul. And with the considerations of the mode of his cleats, he was already on the ground, so it slowed some of the impact down. So I totally agree with the foul yellow card.
Okay. All right. Sasha, are you staying firm or you think you're gonna join the rest of the group here?
Oh, well, they're all switching. I'll switch with them, I guess, but
Oh,
maybe I'll look at a clip one more time and get back to you on that.
okay. All right. That's fair. All right. So the answer for this one, right, is yellow card. Joe actually did a really nice job of explaining the considerations why, right? The Japanese player here does come in and win the ball and then tries to pull out of the tackle. He did have high force, right? His speed coming in was pretty high, right? So I think so that was, I can't remember. I want to give credit to the right person who said that, who mentioned that one, right? So the speed and the intensity of this tackle was pretty high, but we mitigate it, right? So we have two high factors. We have the cleats as the mode of contact, and we have the speed and the force, the intensity, right? But we also have the fact that the ball was there to be won, and he did win the ball, right? He was trying to pull out of the tackle, right? And it was his own momentum that carried him into the player. And then the point of contact was really more the foot. Right? Right. So we had a pretty good, pretty solid yellow card here. Right. And there's that sort of that moment of contact. You see, it's really the lower foot that makes that contact. He's trying to pull out with his other, or the, sorry, there's the mode of contact, the point of contact. He makes contact with the inside of the foot, right, with his leading foot here. And then you can see he starts immediately to pull his legs back, right? Any questions on that one? Nope. All right. Okay, Levon. It's actually, I took three extra minutes, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you very much, Kara. Before I say a couple more things and close the meeting, I want to make sure, Kevin, you there?
I am here, yes.
You have any last minute comments to make or anything you would like to say?
Nope, just be ready to re-accept assignments.
Okay, okay. Please do so. He's worked hard to make sure all the games are cut. My expectations of myself and the tournament is to provide you, number one, as much education as I possibly can. GA, thanks to GA, they provided us with over 18 individuals with a lot of knowledge that you guys need to ask questions and use their knowledge to help you advance in whatever goals you achieved. So my expectations of myself is to provide you education. My expectations of myself is to make sure that you have safe environment to do your games. My expectations of myself is to cover every games and make sure everything goes smoothly. I'd like you to set up your own expectations of what you would like to achieve in this tournament. And it should be very clear and precise, something tangible that you could achieve in each game, overall the tournament, and overall where you would like to be after this tournament. So every day, start fresh, every day set a goal and see if you could achieve it. At this point in time, I thank everyone attending. Thank you, Kara, for putting this together for us. And thank you, Kevin, and all the other management. So at this point, the meeting is officially over. I will, and some of the members of the team will stay on to answer any questions that you have. Thank you. Thank you again, everyone. So we will stay here until 9:30 if anyone has any questions. Have a great night, and we'll see you all in a few days.
Okay, good night.
Just unmute yourself if you have a question.
Good night, everybody. Kara, I have a question. It's just a simple. It really doesn't have. It's not something that we saw in the videos or anything, but it's a question that I've had for a while. If a player, I heard you mention this, and this is why I'm asking. If a player is gonna do, like, for example, one of those bicycle kicks, I don't know how you say it, where the player like gonna land on his back, right? But the kick, he's making it on the air.
Yeah.
And he misses. Well, maybe doesn't miss the ball. Maybe gets the ball, but it's kind of tight. And then another player comes in and tries to header the ball, and he goes in with his head. And so the guy who's kicking hits him in the face. Would that be considered dangerous enough for a red? I don't know. I don't know if excessive force, but I mean, yeah, I guess it would be excessive force if anything, right?
Yeah, I think you answered your own question.
Yeah. I just wanted to hear the confirmation from you.
Yeah, if you think about it like this, right? The player making the action is always the one responsible for the consequences of that action, right? And because so in this case, the player who's making the bicycle kick in traffic is responsible for the outcome of that. You know, you could make the argument, big risk, big reward, right? Maybe he scores the best goal of his life, but maybe he gets a red card. Right? So if you have to be, you know, you have to look at what the game expects here, what the normal mode to play that ball, and if the normal mode to play that ball is with the head, right? And somebody's trying to kick it instead, the responsibility for the action lies on the person who's doing the not normal thing.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Hey, I had a question to add on to that, if it's okay.
Sure.
So you mentioned he scored the goal of his life, but he got a red. So the goal counts and he got a red?
No, so I said maybe.
Okay.
Maybe he scores all his life, or maybe he gets a red, right? It's the foul would, in theory, probably happen before the ball would cross the line, right?
Okay. Yep. Got it. Thank you.
He needs to go play beach soccer if that's the case.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. Doesn't look like we have any more questions.
Levon, this is Paul in Asheville, North Carolina, with a question that I guess is directed to Kevin, but if we're available Friday afternoon, Monday morning, and are interested in additional matches, is there anything that we should do, or just know that our schedule's updated and U.S. officials?
Just hang tight. We have just finished Friday assignments, working through Monday here in about 10 minutes. So
okay, sounds good.
We just hang tight, and then by tomorrow morning, we will have the full picture in place.
All right, great. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you again, guys. See you guys soon.
See you soon, Chris.
See ya.
See you.
Hey, guys.
Harriman, if you're still on the call, you better have a question. I'm leaving once this call ends, so hurry up.
What?
I was telling Perryman.
What'd you
so
say?
I have
He has a
nothing for
question.
you, Matt.
5 minutes.
Hungry.
I'll do that shortly. I sent you a text.
All right, brother. I'll catch you here in a few.
Okay, guys, let's call it a day.
All right, I'm gonna hang up. And the call.
Thanks, everyone, and have a great night. See you all soon.
See you soon.
We'll see you all soon.
Derek, give me a call, please.
Mm-hmm.